Okay, good morning and welcome to a regular meeting of a panel of utility commissioners and staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority held today, Wednesday, June 2nd at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference. My name is Marissa Gillette. I'm the chair, and I'm joined today virtually by my colleagues, the Vice Chairman Jack Bukowski and Commissioner Michael Karen. We have a regular calendar and consent calendar in front of us today. We'll first turn to the regular calendar, for which we have 3 items, and I will present the first item for the panel's consideration. The first item on today's regular calendar is docket number 190704, the adoption of gas quality and interconnection standards for the injection into the natural gas distribution system of conditioned biogas derived from organic material. So on June 27th, 2019, in accordance with Section 18 of Public Act 19-35, an act concerning a green economy and environmental protection, which required the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority to initiate a docket on or before October 1st, 2019, adopting and defining gas quality interconnection standards for biogas produced from anaerobic digestion. Specifically, the authority was required to establish those standards at a level to meet a quality suitable for injection into the natural gas distribution system. We were tasked with developing interconnection standards and tariff language, ensuring the cleanliness standards for that biogas, as well as a process by which the producers of such biogas could request and receive approval to interconnect to the local distribution systems. The authority was required, pursuant to Public Act 1930-35, to issue a decision in this matter prior to September 1st. For this proceeding, the authority sought several rounds of written comments and received a report entitled Interconnecting Guide for Renewable Natural Gas, also known as RNG in New York, on which subsequent written comments and tariffs were based. The local distribution companies, or LDCs, also provided interconnection standards for the authority's consideration in this matter. In addition, the authority received participation from a number of other interested parties, including Quantum Biopower, the Coalition of Renewable Natural Gas, the local distribution companies, and 2 separate bureaus from the state's Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. So in today's decision, the authority reviews the comments received there too regarding the LDC's proposed interconnection tariffs and makes certain findings with respect to whether those tariffs conform to the Public Act 19-35 specifications, which the authority finds that they do. Additionally, the authority reviewed the participants' recommendations on those tariffs in reaching today's decision. Notably, in conclusion, the authority has reached the determination that biogas is a potential alternative to the existing supply sources. Since biogas is a competitive supply source, the authority has accepted the LDC's proposed tariffs, which are consistent with the industry requirements and standards and generally supported by the prospective biogas suppliers. As such, I am recommending today's decision for adoption by the panel.
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The item has been regularly moved and seconded. Seeing no questions or comments, Mr. Bumpin, can you please take the roll?
Chairman Gillette?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Karen?
Yes.
Thank you. The item has been approved. We'll next turn to item number 2 on today's regular calendar, docket number 21-01-05, the annual assessment proceeding to fund the development and administration of enhanced emergency 911 programs. Pursuant to section 16-256G of the General Statutes of Connecticut, On December 17th of 2020, the authority initiated this docket to conduct an annual proceeding to determine the monthly fee that will be assessed on each local telephone wireline service, commercial mobile radio or wireless service, voice over internet protocol service, and coin-operated subscriber to fund the development and administration of the state's Enhanced Emergency 911 or E911 program. The monthly E911 fee supports the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection's proposed E911 program operating budget for fiscal year 2022, which covers the period from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. On January 2nd, 2021, the authority issued interrogatories to service providers of wireline, wireless, and VoIP services to obtain the number of active lines in service as of January 1, 2021. This information, combined with DESPY's budget, is used to determine the monthly E911 per line fee. On March 29th of this year, DESPY filed its fiscal year 2022 operating budget with PURA, which totaled over $33 million, which was, however, a reduction of just over $650,000 from the fiscal year 2021 budget. The DESPY's budget provides funding for multiple purposes that all support Connecticut's emergency communications, such as the operation of Connecticut statewide emergency telecommunications, 911 database and network systems, and state police 911 emergency telecommunications, just to name a few. On May 20th, the authority issued its proposed final decision, allowing for interested participants to file any written exceptions, which the authority did not receive any. The authority determined that the single line monthly subscriber E911 fee assessment should be 66 cents, which is a 2-cent reduction from last year's single line fee. Connecticut agency regulations prescribes a progressive wireline service schedule that is to be used by the authority when calculating the E911 monthly assessment fees for customer accounts with multiple lines, and therefore subscribers will be assessed a monthly fee ranging from 66 cents to 13 cents based on the number of active lines an individual subscriber may have. Pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 16-256G, wireline services will be assessed at the single line rate of 66 cents per active wireless service number, regardless of the number of active wireless lines. Beginning July 1st, 2021 until June 30th of 2022, each wireline, wireless, VoIP, and coin-operated provider shall assess each subscriber the monthly fee as prescribed in today's decision and shall file quarterly payment reports beginning with the third quarter of 2021, no later than October 27th, 2021, and then quarterly thereafter. That concludes this decision, and I would recommend its adoption to the panel.
I move adoption, Madam Chairman.
Second.
Thank you. The item has been regularly moved and seconded. Seeing no questions or comments, Mr. Bumpin, can you please take the roll?
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The item has been adopted. We'll next turn to Commissioner Karen for the third item on today's regular calendar.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman, Madam Chairman, you have before you docket number 200629, the application of Selco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless for approval of the construction plan to install wireless facilities within certain public rights of way in Hartford South End 366. This item is continued from last week's meeting of May 26th. The parties to this particular docket, the authority recognized Selco doing business as Verizon, also Ms. Gladys Moreno Fuentes of 51 Harvard Street in Hartford, the PURA Office of Education, Outreach and Enforcement, and of course, Commissioner, Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Selco, which is a CMRS provider, is now required to obtain a certificate of public necessity to install small antenna facilities in the public right-of-way. But providers must seek construction plan approval from the authority 90 days prior to commencement of any facility's construction. Selco identified a need for additional coverage and capacity relief in the vicinity of the pole number 3378 provide customers and emergency service providers with enhanced and more reliable wireless, voice, and data services. This facility will comply with the National Electric Safety Codes and all applicable state and local regulations during and after construction. The company plans to attach antennas and associated radio and electrical service equipment to the pole, and the pole is owned jointly by CL&P, doing business as Eversource and Frontier. Selco also provided notice to the city of Hartford and all adjoining property owners in May of 2020. Ms. Moreno Fuentes objected to the application, noting that it was concerned about safety from RF emissions, as well as issues with property values perhaps being reduced. The FCC has adopted a standard for exposure to radio frequency emissions from wireless telecommunications facilities, like the one mentioned in the application. Selco's RF emission calculation indicates that the worst case maximum permissible exposure level for each antenna would be 17.11% of the FCC standard, directly below the antenna. The worst case maximum permissible exposure level for the antenna to the 294 Linmore Street building would be 40.76% of the FCC standard, and the worst case MPE for the antenna to Ms. Moreno Fuentes property at 51 Harvard Street would be 13.51% of the FCC standard. The maximum levels of RF energy in public accessible locations in the vicinity of the facility are all below the applicable health and safety limits. Also, the statute speaks nothing of the authority taking notice of property values and any issue dealing with them. And since most properties are negotiated prices, they're considered to be subjective and not taken into consideration by the authority. Consequently, the record demonstrates that Selco requires additional coverage and capacity in the vicinity of 294 Linmore Street in Hartford. The record further demonstrates that Selco reasonably selected the pole as an optimal location for the facility to serve the area, and the authority has considered the objections raised by Ms. Moreno Fuentes. However, the authority finds that RF emissions from the facility will indeed comply with applicable federal regulations. Consequently, the authority finds that the public convenience and necessity requires the authority to authorize the facility in accordance with the Connecticut general statutes. And with that, Madam Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, I would seek a motion to adopt docket 200629.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, let us call the roll.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. That concludes part A of our agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Karen. With that, we will move to the consent calendar for today's agenda. I will seek a motion approving items number 1 through 8 on today's consent calendar.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
I'll second it.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. As you know, questions or comments, Mr. Bumpin, please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been adopted in full. With that, we reach the end of today's agenda for the regular meeting. We will adjourn and we will reconvene for a regular meeting by remote teleconference next Wednesday, June 9th at 10 a.m. Thank you. Have a great day.